They always said, no one marries a fat girl. That sentence echoed in Nora Hayes's head the moment she pushed open the cafe door on Maple Street. The scent of cinnamon and vanilla floated out, like it was trying to soothe her heart back into rhythm. 5:48 p.m. She was 12 minutes early, a habit of people who try a little too hard to be pleasant. Growing up, Nora was taught that soft women had to compensate for softness with perfect manners. On the table sat her slim poetry book, self-published with tutoring money, beside a half-empty cappuccino. She was about to text her sister Emma, "Cancel this, please," when the doorbell chimed. A man walked in, carrying the city's evening light with him. Adrian Blake, tall, crisp charcoal suit, brown hair combed back, blue-gray eyes calm like someone used to glass towers and long meetings. Nora Hayes? His voice was deep, steady. She stood up, startled, the entire cafe seeming to shrink toward them. "Yes," she said, immediately scolding herself for sounding too small. He smiled. 3 minutes late, unapologetic, unhurried. Not playing the savior, just there. The silence stretched thin, the kind where you could hear a spoon touch porcelain from the next table. Then, reflexively, she blurted, "You don't have to stay. Emma can be a little relentless." "Your sister lent me a book," Adrian said, lightly brushing the cover of her poetry collection, his fingers tracing the title as though it were fragile. "I read it, every page." Nora let out a dry laugh. "And what did you find? That I have a pretty face, the classic line." Adrian set the book down and looked straight at her. "Page 32, the window that faces the sun. You wrote, 'The day my mother told me to lose weight so I could find happiness, I noticed my reflection shrinking in her eyes while my body stayed the same, waiting for a real embrace.'" He paused. Someone who can write that shouldn't be treated like a self-improvement project. The line wasn't grand. It was quiet, too precise to argue with. And for a second, Nora forgot how to breathe. Still, her defenses had thickened from years of stares and helpful comments disguised as kindness. "You're handsome, rich, busy," she said flatly. "I don't fit the frame labeled match. Let's not waste time." "Or," Adrian replied calmly, "you could stop telling yourself a bad story before anyone else gets to speak. I'm not here out of pity. I'm here because I'm curious and respectful. But if you want to leave, I won't stop you." She didn't leave. The coffee felt warm again, as if refilled. "What do you do?" she asked, though she already knew the headlines with his name. "I still work," he said with a small grin. "Blake and Harbor, tech, too many emails. Too many people calling me CEO like it's my first name. And too many perfect women around you?" "Beautiful," he admitted, "but hollow." "I'm fat," Nora said plainly, with a strained smile, like pressing on a bruise to see if it still hurts. Adrian didn't deny it, didn't romanticize it. "You're you," he said. "And I'd like to see what the rest of your story looks like, if you let me." When the waitress brought 2 complimentary waffles for first-time couples, Nora saw their reflection in the window. A man who seemed to have everything, and a woman who had learned to stand tall through loss. She thought of all the times her mother said, "Eat less. Maybe then someone will love you." Of weddings where friends whispered, "You'd bloom if you just lost a few pounds." Of that cruel sentence, "No one marries a fat girl," echoing like a parasite in her mind. But then she thought of Adrian, a man who had read her and seen her, not her silhouette. "Let's start over," she said. "I'm Nora. I teach literature. I write poetry. And sometimes I'm so scared I just want to run." "I'm Adrian," he said. "I build big noisy things and realized I can't hear my own heartbeat anymore. I'm scared too. But if we're both scared and still here, maybe that means something." The afternoon melted into dusk. They talked about family tables where love turned into knives, about conference halls where people stood in just the right spot to avoid stealing someone else's spotlight, about her late-night poems and his spreadsheets he knew by heart. When the cafe lights flicked on, Adrian hesitated. "Can I see you again? For the poetry?" Nora teased. "For the poet," he said. "Ah, for you." For the first time in years, Nora left without checking her reflection to see if her dress hid her belly enough. Their story unfolded slowly. Dinners with lasagna he ordered wrong, poetry readings where he sat in the front row, Sunday afternoons where he brewed real coffee instead of grabbing it to go. With him, she didn't have to shrink. With her, he didn't have to perform. But real life never takes direction from a script. The whispers came anyway. At a dinner with his mother, the woman smiled politely and said, "Nora's lovely, but have you thought about image?" Adrian put his fork down. "Whose image, Mom? Mine or the company's?" "Both." He nodded. "If loving someone hurts my image, I'll choose her. If I love my image more, I might as well marry a poster." Meanwhile, Aunt Ruth pulled Nora aside and said softly, "Don't get your hopes up, dear. Men like that don't marry fat girls." Nora looked her straight in the eye. "Then I'll marry a man who's nothing like that." The real test came not from big moments, but small ones. Strangers asking if she was his secretary. Gossip sites posting photos captioned, "CEO's girlfriend shows her real body." She read it, winced, and then laughed bitterly. Adrian called immediately. "Send me the link, I'll have it taken down." "No need," she said. "I don't want our love to become a PR campaign. I just want to live it." He paused. "Then we'll live it." The next day, he posted on LinkedIn, "If you think a woman's worth is defined by her dress size instead of her heart, maybe you've forgotten what you're actually building." Attached was a photo of Nora reading to children at a community library. He stood beside her, smiling, like a man who'd finally found his way home. A year later, back at the same cafe, he handed her a leather notebook. No ribbon, no glitter, just words in his uneven handwriting. Notes about the day she taught him how to eat waffles without spilling sugar, the night they cried over onions, the margin where she'd written a new poem. On the last page, "Will you keep writing this story with me? With the same pen for the rest of our lives?" Nora cried, not from doubt, but release, as if someone had finally untied a rope around her chest. "Yes," she said. 1,000 times yes. Their wedding was small, held in the garden of an old stone house. No filters, no perfection. Just fireflies and golden lights strung across the trees. People told her to pick a darker dress to look slimmer, but Nora chose one that let her breathe, soft fabric, easy drape, bare shoulders that could hold the little world she'd built. Adrian didn't promise never to hurt her. He promised to stand with her when the wind hits. She didn't promise to become smaller. She promised to always choose herself first, so she could love him completely. Their families watched, his mother without her old mask, her mother crying, then laughing through tears. Aunt Ruth whispered, "I'm sorry." And Nora nodded, not like a heroine forgiving, but like a woman accepting a genuine apology. After the wedding, they didn't turn into a fairy tale. They still argued over dishes, forgot umbrellas, missed deadlines. Some days she went silent after reading cruel comments online. Some days he came home from meetings still wearing his CEO mask. But they learned how to take each other's masks off. On their fridge, Adrian taped a note. "Always ask, what do you need right now?" In his wallet, Nora slipped another. "If they look, let them. We're living, not performing." And that was enough. 2 years later, Nora released her third poetry book, Enough from Now On. The dedication read, "To Adrian, who never turned me into someone more acceptable, but helped me become enough as I am. To anyone who's ever heard, no one marries a fat girl. Marry your life first, and love will find you." At the signing, women lined up with red eyes, not asking for selfies, just hugs. One whispered, "You made me believe I don't have to wait to be good enough to be loved." Adrian stood quietly at the back, holding coats, pouring water, watching her, the calmest light in the flashing room. Later that night, Nora opened the window. The summer breeze carried the scent of lavender. Adrian wrapped his arms around her. "You were radiant today," he said. "I'm tired," she smiled. "But I'm okay. And if someone says it again?" "I'll hand them my book," she said. "And if they still don't get it, then we'll go out for pizza." Outside, the world still had its cruel voices. But in that kitchen filled with cinnamon light, the phrase, "No one marries a fat girl," had become nothing more than a faint echo drowned out by laughter. And if anyone asked for her secret, Nora never said it was willpower or luck. She said, "Don't wait to become a different shape before you start living. Live now. And love, the right kind, will find you when you're busy being yourself." And every time someone told Adrian, "You're so lucky," he'd nod and say, "I know, but luck is just courage in disguise." She had the courage to face herself first. I only followed her lead. That was all the proof they needed, that perfection is just a habit of sight and peace, the kind that lives in a warm kitchen under soft light, is what real love looks like. So if anyone ever tells you no one marries a fat girl, let them talk. Then go live your story, in your own handwriting, on paper wide enough for a real human life. Because Nora did. Adrian chose to. And together they proved the hardest thing isn't shrinking to fit someone else's eyes. It's daring to believe you were enough all along.